These are a few of my not so favorite things. Dun dun. Folks, I'm in a really strange mood, but I sat down last night. I was so frustrated for the last 3 weeks because it's just been one knucklehead thing after the next. So I wrote down some of the things that I don't like about my business or things that occur in my business that will hopefully benefit you. Not trying to bring you down, I'm just trying to bring awareness. This is in no particular order, but let's start with the repair request. I hate dealing with repair requests. And the reason why is because the sellers feel like the buyers are nickel and diming them over every little tiny little thing. And most buyers don't have the experience to look at a home inspection report and know what the big ticket items are, ones that are customary or ones that are just, nitpicky, right? And oftentimes their buyer's agent doesn't know either. So if you are a seller, make sure you or your listing agent either bring in a general contractor to give a once around the house to make sure there's no leaks or any electrical issues, or hire a home inspector to do an inspection on your property. You will thank me later for doing that. In fact, several of you have put comments stating, Audra, we did exactly what you said and you were right. They went with my home inspector. Those negotiations were limited, easy peasy. So glad I did it. Now, I'm not suggesting that you just hand over the home inspection report. I'm suggesting that you take care of those issues. So in my book, if there's any electrical issues, like put those GFCI switches in. If there's any mold or any leaking, something rather, make sure the systems are working. Like have a clean home inspection report, okay? It's going to take a little bit more time, but it will limit those negotiations on those repair requests because you're going to hand over that home inspection and you're going to say, these are the things we fixed and we are selling the house as is. And the seller is making no credits and no repairs. Beautiful thing. Pain is a great motivator. We all want to avoid pain. It's the way our brain was wired. So if you're like me, you want to avoid painful situations. And one of those ways is how to minimize that repair request. So you're going to get a home inspection. Okay, I'm repeating this, I know, but I have to drive the point home. This has revolutionized the way I do my business this year. It's very helpful. And not even that, it's full disclosure to the buyer as well when they're making that offer. Now, a lot of you are like, I don't care, I'm selling my house as is. I ain't doing that home inspection report and I'm not doing any repairs. That's fine. You still have to disclose everything you know about the property that's wrong. And if you don't make some of those repairs, I hate to tell you, you're probably going to leave money on the table. So I'm all about selling a property as is, but I also am a big advocate for doing the right steps, making the correct repairs, selling a property in good condition, making sure all the major components work on the property. I know I spent a lot of time on this one. This is so important to maintain the equity in your property. I hate lowball offers. I hate them so much. It's so annoying when you get a lowball offer and it's like significantly under market value and the seller looks at it, they get all offended and they're going to refuse to work with you because you're obviously showing your cards that you're going to be somebody that's going to be difficult to work with. So it's not a great tactic, folks. If you really truly believe that the price is too high, trust me, the seller will eventually come to reason and either drop their price, or maybe you have your agent have a conversation with their agent and say, hey, listen, we don't want to offend, but we believe the house is worth this amount, okay? Now, what I do to completely avoid the whole thing is I hire an appraiser to come out to evaluate each one of my listings. And the reason why I do that is because I'm able to hold the line on my list price. So you get the buyer and the seller on board very, very quickly. I really hate, and this is happening a lot, where an offer is presented as all cash and it's really not all cash, okay? If it's a 30, 45, 60 day timeline to close, it's probably not all cash, folks. I did an entire video on it. I will link it down in the description box below and I'll link it right here. I won't bore you with all the details. Please watch that video if you are selling your house. We are seeing a heck of a lot more of these type of offers that truly aren't cash. If you get an offer that's all cash, you need to ask the question, where is the money? Okay? A lot of these offers are 60 days, 45 days, 30 days. If it's an all cash offer, why does it take 30, 60, 45 days? Sometimes it's because CDs need to mature. Sometimes the offer is presented like, oh, it's an all cash, but I'm working with a hard money lender. They get it done really quickly. It's like cash. No, it's not cash. Cash is cash. So some of you have reached out this week saying, hey, what do you think about this offer? I haven't seen the pre-qual letter, or I haven't seen the proof of funds. I don't know where the money's coming from. All right. I'm telling you right now, folks, if you don't know where the money's coming from, if you don't know how your buyer is being qualified, if there is a loan involved, then you have no business accepting that offer. I hope you understand how important that is. If you are working with an agent or accepting offers, know how that buyer is purchasing your home. That is the most important takeaway. And also watch that video. I think you'll get a lot of benefit out of it. For those of you who are meeting me for the first time, my name is Audra Lambert, and I am one of the top selling agents in Orange County, California. And of course, if you would like to buy or sell a property in my area, you know who to call. Also, please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get to 50,000 subscribers, and I'm not going to give up until I get there. All right, let's get back into it. This is probably the one I hate the most, because I just think it's completely disrespectful. And I believe time is the most valuable thing in our life, because it's one of the things we can't buy, right? So I hate it when somebody wastes my time or my client's time. So this one happens quite a bit in our business, and I'm fed up with it. I think we should charge people or have a rating system or something of no-shows. What I mean by that is the buyer will make an appointment to see the property. I do all private showings on all of my listings, and the buyer just doesn't show up, and the buyer's agent doesn't show up, and they just don't call. And the seller went to all this trouble preparing their house, getting their dogs into a daycare, turning on all the lights, putting the vanilla candle on. Anyway, and they don't show. It's extremely disrespectful, and all I can tell you is you want to minimize this the best you can. So always confirm the appointment a few hours before you make it. That'll hopefully help minimize some of that. But these are things we cannot control, and in real estate, it's kind of like the wild, wild west. There's a lot of disrespect when you're selling your home, so you want to minimize it as much as possible. Just make sure your agent is in fact confirming those appointments a few hours before the appointment time. Another one I really hate, I've been getting a lot of these lately, is contingent offers. Ugh, I hate contingent offers. I hate them. Hate them. And what I mean by that is where a buyer will present an offer to you and say, hey, listen, I really want your house, but I need to sell mine first. Will you cooperate? Meaning, take your house off the market. I'm not going to give you any extra money for doing that. And I'm going to go put my house on the market when I get to it. And when it goes into contract, I'll buy yours. Okay, I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. It's way too much risk for the seller. The seller doesn't know who the buyer is going to be for their buyer's house, right? We don't know if they're contingent. And not even that, but the seller is actually taking their house off the market. So hopefully you get your act together, and we have no say and no control and no impact on the other side. Once we sign a contract, we say, yes, we'll accept your contingent offer. We can't get back out of the contract unless there's certain provisions in place. If you are a seller and you're considering a contingent offer, I would do one of two things. First thing is say, yep, I'll consider your offer, but you have to release however much money, let's say $10,000, $15,000 of earnest money deposit after your investigation period, so I know that you're all in, so it's worth my effort, right? Or number two, you can tell your buyer, hey, listen, I'll entertain your contingent offer, but if I get a better offer, I'm going to give you 48 hours to remove that contingency of the sale of your home. And if you cannot remove that contingency, then I can back out and accept another offer. And during that period of time, you as a seller can be actively marketing your property. And that's the only way that I would ever recommend even considering a contingent offer, unless, of course, there is a buyer who's already under contract and already has those contingencies, all of them already removed upfront on their property. And for you buyers out there, I know you're hating on me right now because you're like, Audra, I just need to find the house first before I sell mine. All right, well, put a little elbow grease in it, like get your pictures taken, be ready to put your house on the market. Make sure that you can present an offer and let the seller know, like, I'm ready to go. We already have it all ready to go in MLS. We just got to push the button. But most of the time when we're receiving these contingent offers, the seller's not even ready. The house hasn't been decluttered. They don't even have pictures. They're just hoping that the seller will take the risk and work with them. And it's just not the way that I like to do business. I think it's way too much risk for the seller and absolutely no risk for the buyer. not in love with that. I hate it, in fact. No is one of the most powerful words in the English dictionary. And in real estate, we need to practice this word regularly. Yes, we do, folks. All right, so if you're a seller and your buyer asks you to move in early because it's taking longer to get the loan approved, you're going to say no. NO spells no. Too much risk and liability for you as a seller. What happens if they move into your property and they can't close the loan? Stranger things have happened. What happens if the buyers all of a sudden lose their job and they no longer can qualify for a loan? That means you got people living in your house that can't close on a loan. How are you going to get them out of the house? Okay? It's a problem. Don't do it. Now, I've never talked about this one before, but whatever, it came up this week. And that is, if you're going to list your property in MLS, never do it over a weekend. Because what might happen is the MLS might be doing their updates and your property never goes on MLS or some of the internet sites. And because you have a listing agreement that's dated, whatever that date on Saturday or Sunday, you are accruing days on market. Not to mention your realtor more than likely has to input the entire thing again. So my favorite data list, and I don't even pay attention to stats, I'm just telling you what I like to do, is I like to list my house on a Monday, and it has all week to be marketed for the open houses on Saturday and Sunday if the seller allows for it, okay? So try not to list your property on a weekend, because there's nothing worse, and I hate it terribly, when an MLS entry gets completely messed up because the MLS department's doing some servicing. It's a nightmare. It's happened to me 3 times, and I'm just never doing it ever again. I highly recommend that you do the same. So this is a thing I probably hate most about my job, and that is the culture of realtors in general. Like, it's not a collective group. In fact, we're actually set up to not help each other. In fact, we're set up to go against each other. It's a horrible, horrible thing. We have these things called violations, and any realtor can go tattle on another realtor by pushing a button in CRMLS or filling out a complaint, and CRMLS will give you a huge, huge fine if you're a realtor in jeopardy, okay? Now, the problem is that we are guilty until proven innocent. And if you don't pay this fine, they, meaning the MLS department, will restrict your access, meaning you no longer can do business unless you pay this hefty fine and can prove your innocence. This happened to me just 2 weeks ago. I kid you not, I can't make this stuff up, okay? I send out an email to some trusted realtors that I've worked with in the past saying, hey, I have 5 properties that let me know if you have any buyers for, would love to coordinate an off-market situation. I had no listing agreement in place, and the email was sent out without the property addresses, just very vague descriptions. I got actually a few people to bite and say, yeah, I'd love to coordinate with you. And one of those realtors that I sent that email to reported me into the CRMLS department, and the CRMLS department said you were actively marketing those properties without putting it into the MLS. So we are giving you a $2,500 fine. $2,500 fine. There's no warning. There's nothing. Just $2,500. And if you don't pay this $2,500, then we are going to restrict and take away your MLS access. Luckily, my broker came to the rescue and we were able to resolve this fine. But I even bring this to your attention because there's a lot of things that you buyers and sellers out there don't see. And it's really important that you do pick a really good agent that has that expertise and experience and ethics. So promise me you're going to interview at least 3 agents, at least 3. Pick one that has that experience and will give you the confidence and will have the good reputation where other agents will want to work with. All right, I'm trying to get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I need your help. Just trying to get this information out to the masses. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.